By the way, to all the Canes fans who were in our mention saying, see, we told you Rod Brind'Amour wasn't going to leave. Okay. Might have been closer than we think. By the way, Rod Brind'Amour only making $1.8 million. Mm-hmm. Tom Dundon won.
Well, the quote was that it wasn't about his salary. It was about the salary around him.
And hopefully they actually solve that.
Yeah.
Jesse, I'm going to need you to say that again.
It wasn't about Rod Brind'Amour's salary. It was about paying all of the staff around him.
Here it is.
He took less money so that everyone else who works with him could receive the right amount of salary.
And not everyone has to do that, but wouldn't you agree that Rod Brind'Amour is uniquely in a position to do that?
Rod Brind'Amour, he's made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Well, at least I think he made 50 or 60 during his career.
Yeah.
This is what I told you, Steve. You make the money first, and then you go try to win a cup. You Spezza the deal.
I was saying. Everybody's only saying it of guys who already made the money.
Spezza, the quote that killed me, by the way, and I know you're going to get 2 minutes here, Jesse. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm. I don't.
When Spezza re-signed, and I know that was news that broke, so I guess we should quickly hit on it. Spezza re-signed, and he's like, I would accept less money if they would allow me to. I just want to play on a good team. He's staying in Toronto. We know the Kraken aren't going to take him because we know he'd instantly retire. It's just one of those things that he wants to be a Leaf. He wants to be in Toronto. He wants to be in his hometown. That's great. And everybody.
Oh, sorry.
Everybody took that quote and turned it around on Mitch Marner. And to a smaller extent, Austin Matthews. Now, to be fair, I don't think that is fair. Jason Spezza made his money. Jason Spezza made like $60 or $70 million over the course of his career. He's great. Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, when those guys signed those deals, they had not made that kind of money. And at least in Austin Matthews' case, I think he's worth $11 million. I think he is. Mitch, I think, is a little overpaid at what he is, but, it's by a couple million. He's still going to be a $9 million player. But, Steve, I guess your point is, why squeeze the extra $2 million out when you really didn't need to because you can make it elsewhere? I get it, but you do have to go get that money. Look at Spezza. Everybody's like, oh, he looks great. Well, Spezza's not 22. Okay? So let's go easy on the guys, at least in that regard. I do want to say, go ahead.
Rod Brind'Amour from capfriendly.com estimated career earnings $52,435,000. And this says a lot about salaries. His first year in the league, 90-91, he had a base salary of $160,000.
Oh my God.
His final season of his contract, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. He had a very, very long first contract. 5
to 7 years, wasn't it?
It was 10 by the looks of it. 2001, he was making 4.25. He got bought out. What the hell? You don't buy out Rod the Bod. How dare you? Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in that same vein, I saw a tweet today, and I want to run it by you guys, and then we're going to get to the GM thing.
Mm-hmm.
Should an $11 million goal scorer need an $11 million playmaker? Should an $11 million playmaker need an $11 million goal scorer? That's from, I believe, Active Stick, Oak Leafs.
Should those two $11 million need a backup $11 million center?
Listen, you asked that sarcastically. That's a legit question.
I think it's a fair question.
It's a fair question. And listen, if
I wasn't actually asking it sarcastically. Mm-hmm. I thought it was actually quite smart.
No, I know. Someone who has to negotiate with these guys. I don't have a name in mind, but someone who was in that position would look at their production and go, so which one of you is the straw that stirs the drink? I can only pay the straw. It's got to be one of you. Which one is it? Which one is it? Is it I, Kyle? It can only be one of them. It can only be one of them. I keep saying it. It's nothing against any single player on the Toronto Maple Leafs. They can't do this. They can't do this with this salary structure. There was maybe a situation where they could have, and the pandemic.
This year would have been the year.
Well, this year would have been the year.
And moving forward, if the salary cap kept going up.
So when unnamed negotiator goes through that conversation, Steve, what happens if truculent agent says, well, my guy is the guy, and you've already signed the guy that isn't, which is what truculent agent actually did?
Yeah, you trade them. Did you want a more complex answer?
You trade them. Do you give them the contract and then trade them, or do you trade them in that moment?
Trade them in that moment.
That would have been, I think you would have been upset if Mitch Marner was traded before signing that deal.
Yeah, and then he would have signed for $12 million with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I would have been like, oh, never mind.
And then
it does seem like it's an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object right now. It might not be, and it might not end up being the case, but it just does seem like there's going to be, in the next 18 months, one of those fours moving. Has to.
And like, again, it's nothing against the player. Reality changed. The cap would be approaching, it probably would have been around 85 this season. It'd be over 90 by the time his contract was done, maybe even 100.
No, that's
it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, fellas. Well, what about the we can and we will? It's a quote. It's a stupid quote. You trade the guy and wear it, and you erase the conversation about it by having a fantastic hockey team. But no.
The other thing I would say is that he did keep them, and they didn't perform. So the quote's true. We can and we will. The question was, could he resign them? He did.
Yeah, but you're more susceptible to this shit. Just like Myrtle said, you're more susceptible to this by having, I'm going to say 3 guys. William Nylander's not fair. I mean, I understand that he started the sequence of events. He's making 7, not 11. It's just not the same.
Mm-hmm. He's also performed like a $7 million player. That's the whole thing. If Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and John Tavares all performed at the level of their contract, the amount they're getting paid, then we wouldn't complain. William Nylander showed up in the playoffs and during the regular season, especially in the 1920 season, he was unbelievable. He was way above his pay grade, or at it at least.
He's at it at least.
So nobody's complaining about that deal.
No, it's a good deal.
Yeah,
it's just a good deal.
It's about the 11 because he hasn't performed like 11.
And you say, well, in the regular season, guy's a top 5 scorer in the NHL. So, and the regular season's what they're paying for, technically.